Good evening. Welcome to our Thursday night Bible study. It's Thursday, November 12th. As always, I want to thank those of you that continue to watch this Bible study videos. Many of you are joining the Bible study. Last week we had 65 views. So I especially appreciate those of you that watch this live, taking time out of your night. God will bless you and honor you and help your faith to grow as a result of this commitment. So let me open with a prayer. Father, I thank you for what we're going to be reading tonight in your word. Powerful message, God, for us. Your word is just so relevant today. And I just pray, God, that you would speak loud and clear to your people. God, really wake them up. Wake them up so we can do way more than what we're doing now. And we pray this in your name. Amen. Morning, Serena. Morning, James. James Reed, good to have you with us. We're in Acts, extremely interesting part of Acts here. I'm going to read it and then we're going to talk about this. Chapter 10. It says, at Caesarea, there was a man named Cornelius, a centurion who was in what was known as the Italian regiment. He and all his family were devout and God-fearing. He gave generously to those in need and prayed to God regularly. One day at about 3 p.m, he had a vision. He distinctly saw an angel of God who came to him and said, Cornelius. Cornelius stared at him in fear. What is it, Lord? He asked. The angel answered, now listen to this. Your prayers and gifts to the poor have come up as a memorial offering before God. Now send men to Joppa to bring back a man named Simon who is called Peter. He is staying with Simon the tanner, whose house is by the sea. When the angel who spoke to him had gone, Cornelius called 2 of his servants and a devout soldier who was one of his attendants. He told them everything that happened and sent them to Joppa. Good evening, Anna. Interesting. Now, Cornelius got God's attention because he stood out among all the people in the world at that time. He stood out with his devotion to prayer and his helping the poor. Let me read verse 4 again. It says, your prayers and gifts to the poor have come up as a memorial offering before God. Now, let me explain what this is like, okay? It's like God up in heaven, okay? And God is looking down at earth. Remember in the Old Testament it said, he's looking at the earth and looking for someone that is willing to follow him. Someone willing to follow him, searching the earth. And that's what he was doing at that time. God is just kind of looking over the balcony of heaven, just kind of like, is there anybody out there? And Cornelius, it's kind of like woke God up. It was like God being bored in heaven and Cornelius waking God up because he does something that is out of the ordinary, something that others were not doing. And as a result, God sends an angel down to minister to him. Interesting. I guess the question I have to ask is, what would we need to do today? What would you and I need to do today to wake up God like Cornelius did? Are you currently doing anything at all that God would look over at heaven and say, wow, look at what Serena's doing. Look at what Anna's doing. Look at what Jim's doing. Well, how about if we did what Cornelius was doing? That would wake God up. Praying regularly, giving generously to the poor, being devout and God-fearing, and bringing your family with you. Those are the 4 things that Cornelius did that spurred God to look down with favor at him to the point of sending an angel down to him. Maybe if we did those same things, God would take special notice of us. Who knows? He might send a ministering angel to us. Listen to what it says here in Hebrews 13, 1-2. It says, keep on loving each other as brothers and sisters. Do not forget to entertain strangers, for by doing some people have entertained an angel without even knowing it. It's like we may have angels among us that we don't even realize. God may send an angel to you if you're doing mighty things. Now, I don't know about you, but I want to wake God up. I want to do something where God takes notice of me. You hear me? I want God to look over heaven's balcony and say, what is Jim doing down there? What is Serena doing down there? What is Anna doing down there? I want to wake God up. I want God to send an angel down to me. I can't do that by being selfish with my time, being selfish with my talents, being selfish with my spiritual gifts, being selfish with my resources, being selfish with my money. I have to wake up every morning and put God and others first in my life. Then I have to continue to do this for the rest of the day. And then I have to continue to do this for the rest of the week, and then for the rest of the month, and then for the rest of the year, and then for the rest of my life, in order to get God's attention. That's where Cornelius was. Said he was known. He and all his family was devout and God-fearing. He gave generously to those in need and prayed to God regularly. And he found favor with God as a result. Good evening, John. That's what I want to be. I can't speak for you. No, I want to share with you some people that I see doing this today, okay? Some people that, because you can sit there and say, well, is anybody doing this? Do you know of anyone that's doing such unbelievable things that God would look down from heaven with favor on them? Well, I know some. Let me share some with you, and you know them. James and Pinky's parents at Good Samaritan Mission. They have devoted their lives, all of their lives, to helping the poor. They're doing it right now in knee-deep water from the monsoons. Maybe some of you saw the pictures on Facebook, where they're literally knee-deep in water ministering to people. Because their village and everything around there is like that. They continued to build the orphanage that they have to protect the children and the elderly people, and they're doing it all with manual labor, much of it by James's father himself. They continue to feed the poor, especially now with those that lost their homes and lost their crops. They do this every day. They do this all week. They do this all month. They do this all year. They do this all their life. You tell me God isn't looking down at them with favor. Oh, yeah. They got God's attention. They've got God's attention. Now, if you would like to get involved, with this, we do this every Sunday with our church Collision. You can help them. You can help them, because the one thing they need, they need prayer. But we always say prayer and then resources. But I'll be honest with you, prayers have to have arm and legs to them. You can say, well, I'll pray for them, but what does that mean, to praying for them? If you put arms and legs to it, it's like, I'll pray for them, but first I'll send them what they need. They need enough money. We are now the sole supporter of their ministry. They had another church, I think it was in Oregon, that was helping them. But now that this pandemic has hit and they're not able to meet, they're not even able to meet their own needs. So we are the only church that's helping them there. Whatever they're able to do is because of our generosity, because of our caring. God, I'm convinced of this. God looks down at favor to Collision Church. God looks down, that we wake up God when he looks down and sees our church willing to help out these people that we may never see, willing to help out James' parents that we have got to see because they visited us. It says today in our devotion we learned that Thomas didn't believe, and it says, blessed are those that don't see yet believe. Blessed are those of us that don't see the needs there in India, and yet we try to help. So you can help. You can go to the Collision Facebook page right now and you can give online. 100% of your money will go directly to helping them to feed the people there. It's called Good Samaritan Mission. Now let me give you another one. Sandeep's parents there in India, his mom, who continues to minister after her husband suddenly and unexpectedly died. She could have just stopped the whole, but she didn't. She continues. She continues to visit those in her church. She continues to pray that they can't meet because of the epidemic. So she goes to their homes, visits them, prays with them, ministers the word to them, and then feeds them if she has money enough to buy food to be able to feed them. She does this every day, 7 days a week. Every day, every week, every month, every year, for the rest of her life. She does this. Morning, Marcia. So again, we can get involved with that. It's called House of Prayer. Again, you can go online, close your Facebook page, and help them. Let me give you another one. Dawn with Lily's Legacy. Dawn works her own job as a hairdresser, at least 40 hours a week. And then her weekend comes, and she doesn't selfishly look at herself for the, people say TGIF, thank God it's Friday, so I have the whole weekend to do what I want to do. Well, Dawn doesn't do that. Dawn takes her whole Saturday. Her whole Saturday she takes to be able to, thanks Mike, her whole Saturday that she takes to spend time to prepare food, to prepare all the necessities that a homeless person would need. She has her van full of stuff, and she goes out for hours to feed and meet the needs of the homeless in the Long Beach area. God looks down at Dawn with that same kind of favor. You can support her ministry. Again, going on Facebook, Collision Facebook page. It's called Lily's Legacy. Here's another one, Dandy. Dandy, he works a regular job too, 40 hours. Now here's what's awesome about it. I know he would never tell you himself, but because of the pandemic, they have way less children now, but they still have to run it. He didn't want to lay off any of his workers. So he just takes a minimal, very partial pay, like 25% of his pay, so that he can pay the other workers that work there. So he's putting in just as much time for 1/4 of the pay. And then he goes out just about every day, every night, he goes out into the streets to help the poor. We support him. We support him. We raise money for him every month to, like Dawn last week, we were able to raise over $600 for her. We were able to raise close to that for Dandy. So Dandy has money to go out into the streets to help the homeless and the poor. We're able to help and get involved with that. So can you. Another one, Grace. Grace has very little. You hear me? She has very, very little. She doesn't even have enough to take care of her family. She has to live with her mom there, and there's like 4 or 5 families that live in that house there. She lives there with her boys, and yet she takes what little she has to go. And she goes into Mexico a lot of times to help the poor there. She's involved with Dandy in Hawaiian Gardens with his ministry. Let me just read something here in Luke. In Luke 21, 1-4, it says this. As he looked up, Jesus saw the rich putting their gifts into the temple treasury. He also saw a poor widow put in 2 very small copper coins. I tell you the truth, he said. This poor widow has put in more than all the others. All these people gave their gifts out of their wealth, but she gave out of her poverty, put in all she had to live on. That's what grace is doing. That's what grace is doing. What little she has, she uses to help the poor. Those people are waking up God. God who's in heaven looking down on earth. Is there anybody down there doing anything? And then he sees James and Angel's parents. And then he sees Sandeep's mother. Then he sees Dawn and her team. Then he sees Dandy and his team. Then he sees Grace. And said, there they are. There they are. I hope he's looking down at Jim and saying, there he is. There he is. He's doing something for me. I hope he's looking down at Mike. I hope he's looking at Marcia. I hope he's looking down at John. I hope he's looking down at Anna. I hope he's looking down at you and saying the same things. Is he? Have you woke up God? Do you have a desire to want to wake up God? To do something like Cornelius? To be. Let me read it again. He and all his family were devout and God-fearing. He gave generously to those in need and then prayed to God regularly. And as a result, an angel said, your prayers and gifts to the poor have come up as a memorial offering before God. Has your prayers and gifts to the poor come up as a memorial offering before God? You can. You can. You can do it. You can do it. You can help out as much as you can. Again, let me tell you, you can go to the Collision Facebook page. Now, again, you can say, well, Jim, why you keep bugging me on this? Because I care about the needy. I care about the poor. I'm not doing this for me. I'm not telling you to go online to give to the church so that I can have a big salary. So I can have a personal on airplane, so I can travel, none of that's for me. None of that's for me. I do my ministry for free. It's to help out the poor. It's to help Dawn so she can keep on ministering to the poor, and it's helping out Dandy and Grace so they can continue ministering to the poor. It's helping out James' parents so they can keep ministering to the poor. It's helping Sandeep's mom so she can continue ministering to the poor. And then what does God say, promise us? What does God promise you? I will reward you 100-fold. You can't outgive God. You cannot outgive God. God sees everything you're doing. So, I don't know about you, but I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to wake up God. To wake up God. Just imagine God up in heaven, kind of looking over heaven's balcony down on earth and just looking for anybody that's doing anything. Is anybody doing anything? Does anybody care? Does anybody care about the poor? Is anybody willing to do anything for the poor? Yeah. Oh, look there. There's some people down there doing something. It's like waking God up. Mike, you and Debbie are extremely generous. Hope you don't mind me calling you. You're extremely generous. You help them out weekly. God bless you. And God does bless, and he's going to continue to bless you. He'll bless you 100-fold in this lifetime and in the one to come. You and Debbie have much to look forward to when you reach heaven's gate. So can the rest of you. You can do the same thing. Let's wake up God. Let me close with a prayer. Father, I hope you spoke to your people. And even, I look at John there, doesn't have much at all, and he's trying to help his family with everything that he's got, and he continues to be generous. He comes to my front door on a regular basis to give his India Bank, to give his money that he has set aside to help out the church, to help out the poor. God, there's people doing that, God. There's people doing these things. And you know that. You see that. John wakes you up. John, you look down at John with favor. You look down at Mike and Debbie with favor. I pray, God, that you're looking down at Jim with favor. And I pray that you're looking down at the rest of these people with favor. It's not too late to start. Amen. Hey, thanks for joining me. God will lay another message. We continue going through Acts, some interesting stories here in Acts. And for the rest of you, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock for our daily devotions. Have a great night, okay? Go to the Collision Facebook page. You can do it any time. You can go online anytime and give to any one of these ministries that I talked about tonight. James and Angel's parents called Good Samaritan Mission. Sandeep's mother's called House of Prayer. Dawn's called Lilith's Legacy. Dandy is just Dandy, okay? It's just Dandy. So you can go to any one of those and give generously if you're able to, or if you want to. God bless you. Have a great night.